Hello dear children, let's continue the lesson today with the first paragraph. The Pandavas and the Kauravas learnt the practice of arms first from Kripacharya and later from Drona. A day was fixed for the test and exhibition of their proficiency in the use of arms in the presence of the royal family, and as the public had also been invited to witness the performance of their beloved princess, there was a large and enthusiastic crowd. Arjuna displayed superhuman skill with his weapons, and the vast assemblage was lost in wonder and admiration. Duryodhana's brow was dark with envy and hate. So the lesson starts with the incident. What is the incident going on here? There is a large crowd gathered in a stadium. There is a big ground, children. And there is a large ground where the Pandavas and the Kauravas, they are called, they have learnt, they have practiced the warfare. They have learnt the warfare from Kripacharya first and later from Dronacharya. So there was a day fixed. On particular day, Pandavas and Kauravas were asked to show that skill in front of the crowd, show their proficiency, show their talent in front of the crowd. So in that crowd, the royal family was present, even the relatives were present. So beloved princess means all the Kauravas and the Pandavas were invited to show their talent and skill in front of that large crowd. The crowd was very enthusiastic to watch it. So Arjuna started to display his skill, started to show his skill with the weapons. When he started to show his skill with the weapons, the large crowd was left shocked. It was stunned. It was very surprised. And the crowd was wondering by seeing the skill of archery of Arjuna. So here, whereas on the other side, Duryodhana was not at all happy by this talent. He not want to see Arjuna's skill of archery. He was hating him. At the close of the day, there came suddenly from the entrance of the arena a sound loud and compelling like thunder, the sound made by the slapping of mighty arms in challenge. So it was the day, the whole day, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, they displayed their talent, their skills. It was the day to close. Suddenly a person with a thundering sound he entered, means in a very mighty arms, means he was having weapons with him. The person entered into that arena. And who is that, children? All eyes turned in that direction. So even the crowd was also surprised to see who has entered when the day was about to close. They saw enter through the crowd, which made way in awed silence, a godlike youth from whom light and power seemed to emanate. He looked proudly round him, cast a negligent salute to Drona and Kripa, and strode up to Arjuna. The brothers, all unaware by the bitter irony of fate, of their common blood, faced one another, for it was Karna. So even the crowd was surprised, the crowd was left in silence, and when they saw, they were shocked to see it was Karna who entered into the arena. And he just left an arrow to Dronacharya and Kripacharya and he bowed. It was a kind of salute he gave to Dronacharya and Kripacharya. Then he came and he challenged Arjuna. And Arjuna means both brothers, they were brothers, they were sharing the common blood, but they both were unaware. They were not knowing that they are brothers, children. It was the irony of fate, it is said. It was the fate. Here Karna was unfortunate. His misfortune. He was brought up by a charioteer, and even though belonging to a Kshatriya family, he was not getting the rights of that family. So both the brothers faced one another. Karna addressed Arjuna in a voice deep as rumbling thunder. Arjuna, I shall show greater skill than you have displayed. So Karna openly challenged Arjuna and he said that I am going to prove myself in front of you that I am the best in archery. Means he is possessing the greater skill in archery. Who is he, children? He is Karna. With Drona's leave, Karna, the lover of battle, then and there duplicated all Arjuna's feats with careless ease. Great was Dronacharya's exultation. He threw his arms round Karna. Welcome, O thou with mighty arms, whom good fortune has sent to us. I and this kingdom of the Kurus are at your command, said Karna. So with Drona's permission, Karna was the lover of battle, and he gained the knowledge. He wanted to gain the knowledge from Dronacharya, but it was not possible because he refused to give knowledge to him, as he was only teaching to the people who were belonging to Kshatriya family. So with the permission of Dronacharya, he challenged, he took the permission from his best friend also, Duryodhana, and Karna said, I, Karna, am grateful, O king. Only two things I seek, your love and single combat with Partha. Partha means here is Arjuna, children. So welcome, O thou with mighty arms. Here it is said by Duryodhana. Duryodhana welcomes Karna. Duryodhana was considering Karna as the best warrior. He was not liking Arjuna. So always he was giving very much importance to Karna only. And he was thinking as Karna as the best one, as the best person in the battle. So when Duryodhana welcomed him, Karna said, thanks for your invitation. You welcomed me, and I want to combat with Partha. And combat means he want to compete with Arjuna. So Karna wanted to compete with Arjuna. Duryodhana clasped Karna again to his bosom. My prosperity is all thine to enjoy. So Duryodhana, he said, he just supported and he encouraged Karna, and he said that I want to enjoy your battle. I don't want to disturb you both. I want to enjoy the competition between you, he said. As love flooded Duryodhana's heart, even so did blazing wrath fill Arjuna. Here Duryodhana was in fully support with Karna, but whereas Arjuna was not at all happy and he was burning with wrath, means he was getting angry on Karna, who felt affronted and glaring firstly at Karna, who stood stately at a mountain as a mountain peak, receiving the greetings of Kaurava brothers, he said. So Arjuna took permission from the Kauravas and he received greetings from Kaurava's brothers, and Arjuna said, O Karna, slain by me those shall presently go to the hell appointed for those who intrude uninvited and prayed unbidden. Karna laughed in scorn. Means Arjuna, he challenged Karna and he said that you are going to hell and you are here, you have not invited to this arena, you have not invited, without invitation you have entered here, means your bad time has come. Just you get ready, he said. And for this Karna laughed with a scorn. He laughed at the remarks of Arjuna. He felt like it is not suitable. The remarks are not suitable for him. This arena is open to all, O Arjuna, not to you alone. So for this, Karna calmly answered that the arena is not open to only Arjuna. It is open to all. Might is the sanction of sovereignty and the law is based on it. But what is the use of mere talk, which is the weapon of the weak? Shoot arrows instead of words. So he said, just be loyal and uh, don't um, humiliate me, don't insult me. Let's follow the rules and show our skills based on the law. And instead of wasting our time in silly thing, let's use the time in using the weapon, he said. So instead of wasting the time in the words, use the arrows, he said. He advised. Shoot the arrows, he said, not the words. Who said, children? Karna said to Arjuna. Thus challenged, Arjuna, with Drona's permission, hastily embraced his brothers and stood ready for combat. While Karna, taking leave of the Kuru brothers, confronted him weapon in hand. So Arjuna, he took permission from Dronacharya and he embraced his brothers and he got ready for the competition. Then later Karna, he took leave from the Kuru brothers and he too stood in front of Arjuna with a weapon in his hand. And as though the divine parents of the heroes sought to encourage their offspring and witness his fateful battle, Indra, the lord of the thunder clouds, and Bhaskara of the infinite rays, simultaneously appeared in the heavens. Not only the people present in the stadium, in the ground, the crowd, the royal family was watching this combat. Even the divine parents who are their children, they were Indra, the lord of thunder clouds, and the Bhaskara of infinite rays. They too appeared in the heavens, and they too were very curious to watch this combat between Karna and Arjuna. When she saw Karna, Kunti knew him as her firstborn and fainted away. Vidura instructed the maidservant to attend upon her, and she revived. She stood stupefied with anguish, not knowing what to do. When Kunti saw Karna, she realized she was knowing that Kunti was knowing that Karna is her firstborn child. So she fainted when she saw the two brothers were combating. The two brothers were competing with each other. So she fainted away. Then later Vidura instructed the maidservant to revive her. Then she was in anguish. She not wanted the brothers to fight with each other and she wanted to stop it. But how to stop? That's what she was in confusion, children. As they were about to join in battle, Kripa, well versed in the rules of single battle, stepped between them and addressed Karna. So when the battle was about to start between Arjuna and Karna, Kripa, he entered between them and he told the rules of the single battle. He started to tell to Karna first. This prince who is ready to fight with thee is the son of Pritha and Pandu and the scion of the Kuru race. Reveal, O mighty armed, thy parentage and the race rendered illustrious by thy birth. It is only after knowing the thy lineage, that Partha can fight with thee, for high-born princes cannot engage in single combat with unknown adventurers. So here Kripa, he asked to reveal the identity. He introduced Arjuna to Karna. He said that he is the son of Pritha and Pandu and he is belonging to Kuru race and he is the mighty armed and he is from Kshatriya. So until you did not reveal your identity, he is not going to fight with the strangers, fight with the unknown adventurers. So the rule of the single combat, the first rule of the single combat is to introduce each other. When Kripa introduced Arjuna, same way here Karna should also introduce himself. Understood, children? When he heard these words, Karna bent down his head like a lotus under the weight of rainwater. So, how the rainwater makes the lotus flowers, lotus leaves to bend down. When Karna heard the words of Kripa to introduce himself, when Kripa asked him to introduce, he felt ashamed. Why? Because Karna not wanted to reveal his identity. He not wanted to show that he is belonging to lower class family. Duryodhana stood up and said, if the combat cannot take place merely because Karna is not a prince, why that is easily remedied. So for this, Duryodhana got angry and he replied, if the combat is not going to take place because only Karna is not a prince, then why that is easily remedied? Means why you are giving a reason for that? Don't give a reason. Just leave it, he said. Karna is not a prince and you not want to involve him in a single battle with Arjuna, then leave it. And only thing is, he is not a prince and you are not allowing, means I am going to announce him as a prince, he said. And what he is going to do, let's see, children. I crown Karna as the king of Anga. See, Duryodhana announces Karna as the king of Anga. He then obtained the assent of Bhishma and Dhritarashtra, performed all the necessary rites and invested Karna with sovereignty of the kingdom of Anga, giving him the crown, jewels and other royal insignia. See, Duryodhana not waste time to announce, and he announces that Karna is the king of Anga, and he performed all the necessary rites and rituals also with the permission of Bhishma and Dhritarashtra. So he gives him the crown, he gives him the jewels, even the royal sign also, royal sign of Anga. At that moment, as the combat between the youthful heroes seemed about to commence, the old charioteer Adhiratha, who was the foster father of Karna, entered the assembly, staff in hand and quaking with fear. When the battle was about to start between two youthful heroes, Adhiratha, who was the charioteer, the foster father of Karna, he enters the ground, and his hands were folded. He was shivering, children. He was quaking with fear. No sooner did he see him than Karna, the newly crowned king of Anga, bowed his head and did humble obeisance in all filial reverence. The old man called him son, embraced him with tears of love, his head already moistened by the water of coronation. So Karna bowed his head in front of Adhiratha and he took his blessings. He showed his obeisance in front of him. The old man was where he embraced Karna with tears of love. His eyes were moistened and he was unable to believe that Karna has become the king of Anga. And he was very much happy with the coronation. Means he had got a crown of that Anga kingdom, children. Karna had got a crown. At this sight, Bhima roared with laughter and said, oh, he is after all only the son of Charioteer. Then all came to know that Karna was the son of Charioteer. And Bhima, he insulted Karna here, laughing at him. And he, in front of huge crowd, he called him the son of Charioteer. Take up the driving whip then, as befits thy parentage. So what Bhima tells him, instead of taking the weapon in your hand, take a whip in your hand like your father and start doing the same profession. It is the profession carried out by your parents, he said. Bhima. It was insulting words. Those were insulting words told by Bhima to Karna. Thou art not worthy of death at the hands of Arjuna, nor should thou reign in Anga as a king. So later Bhima tells, You are not at all suitable to become the king of the Anga, and not at all suitable to combat with Arjuna also. Not to hold a weapon in your hand. Your hands are suitable to hold a whip, he said. Whip means chabuk, children. At this outrageous speech, Karna's lips trembled with anguish, and he speechlessly looked up at the setting sun with a deep sigh. But Duryodhana broke in indignantly. So Karna did not reply to the insulting words of Bhima. He just kept quiet. His lips started to tremble. His lips started to shake. And he was with anguish. He was angry, but he was speechless. And he was feeling ashamed of that. Only one thing was that he was not allowed to combat with Arjuna because he was not belonging to Kshatriya family. He was not a prince. But in place of Karna, on behalf of Karna, Duryodhana, he broke out. He answered to Bhima. It is unworthy of you, O Vrikodara, to speak thus. Valor is the hallmark of Kshatriya, nor is there much sense in tracing greater heroes and mighty rivers to their sources. So Duryodhana says, these words doesn't suit you. Being a hallmark of Kshatriya means you are from royal family and you are speaking these kinds of ill words. This doesn't suit you. So the heroes will remain heroes, he says. The mighty rivers, they go on living their sources. I could give you hundreds of instances of great men of humble birth, and I know awkward questions might be asked of your own origin. Look at this warrior, his godlike form and bearing, his armor and earrings, and his skill with weapons. Surely there is some mystery about him, for how could a tiger be born of an antelope? Unworthy of being king of Anga, did thou say? I verily hold him worthy to rule the whole world. So here Duryodhana, he takes the side of Karna and he speaks on behalf of him. He tells that you just look at him, what kind of godlike appearance he have, what kind of armor he is having, what kind of earrings he is having, and this is very awkward that being belonging to a royal family, you are speaking these kinds of words to him. And not a single person is having that kind of appearance. Karna was having very godlike appearance, and he was having armor, the armor which was a boon given by Surya. So he was called as Surya Putra, children. So no one is having such kind of skill, such kind of appearance anywhere in the ground, anywhere in the royal family, Duryodhana says in support of Karna. So he was very much confident that Karna is suitable to rule the whole world. He says, you are unworthy of being King Anga. Means Bhima said he is not suitable to become the king of Anga. Na? So here Duryodhana says that if he is not suitable to become the king of Anga, he is suitable to rule the whole world, he says. In generous wrath, Duryodhana took Karna in his chariot and drove away. So, not a single moment he leaves Karna. Duryodhana leaves Karna in the ground. He takes Karna with him in his chariot and he leaves the ground. It was the sunset time, children. Even the crowd also gets dispersed. The sunset, the crowd dispersed in tumult. There were groups loud in talk under the light of the lamps, some glorifying Arjuna, others Karna, and others again Duryodhana according to their predilection. So there was sunset. The battle the ground was closed. Some were talking in favor of Arjuna, some were talking in favor of Karna, and some people were talking in favor of Duryodhana. This all what happens in the first incident, children. There are some more incidents we are going to learn in this lesson. 3 to 4 incidents have been explained explained in this lesson. This is first incident what we learned today. I request you to read the lesson again, and if you get any doubt, you can ask me. Meet you in the next session. Thank you.